Here's how to make sure your labels are always readable over very light or very dark features. Here's a thematic map I'm working on showing wildfire risk. Low risk, 0, has a really light fill. High risk, 5, has a very dark fill. I want to label these features based on their 0 to 5 risk rating. The problem is these black labels are invisible over these dark features. And of course, changing the label color to white just pushes the problem to the other end of the color gradient. I can't see the white features labels, much like how Dolly is practically invisible over this snow. I'm going to use label classes so that I can create a specific label style for these light features. I'll create a new class for them, but first I need to unlabel these light features in the label class that I've already got. So for label class 1, I'll create an expression and say label everything that's not a wildfire score of 0. There, now this white category no longer has impossible to read white labels. We've freed up that real estate for a new label class. Labels that will be readable over a light background. I'll call this new label class, class 0. And then I'll write a new expression for this one to only show labels in class 0, the exact opposite of the other label class. And oh my goodness, what's that? That's just the default field that it's labeling. I'll switch it back to wildfire risk. And now I have these labels that I can style separately from everything else so they're more visible over the light background. That's cool, but what if I wanted to take it a step further and have separate style rules for each class in my layer? I could manually create a label class for each of these categories, but there's a way you can save a lot of effort and automatically do this. And that option is called Create Label Classes from Symbology. And it's like, here's your symbol classes. You want label classes for them too? Sure. And I want these to completely replace my 2 existing label classes, so I'll just uncheck this. Let's see how our symbology-driven label classes look. Oh my goodness, it's a nightmare. But that's okay, I expected this. It's because the default label is the county name, which is long, and I need to switch each one to fire risk. So let me do that impossibly quickly using the magic of television. Choose class, set the label field to fire risk, etc., etc., etc. Let's see what we've got. Now it doesn't look like a big deal because our label styles are the same for each label class, but we can change this. For example, I'll change the tone of each label class's label color so that the contrast is similar across all these categories. I select the label class and I choose a color. I select the label class and I choose a color, and so on. Now no labels get lost over a similarly colored feature. And you're the boss, so you can make each of these label classes look however you want them to look. Well, that's how you that's how you
use label classes to ensure visibility of your labels across maps with all sorts of different background stuff. Fascinating. Now for some chickens.